Good morning, UBS. Another Monday morning. The sun is just peering through my office window here, and we've got here people on Periscope as well joining us. Hey guys, nice to see you. Someone just said, I just read your latest book. Hope you're all having a bright and chirpy morning. Wasn't it a beautiful weekend in Melbourne? Thanks. I think it's Kath, if that's right, on Periscope. Great to see lots of people on GoToWebinar as well here. So, hey, Lorraine, Elaine, Robin. I'm just going to open up my question box. Lovely sunny morning in Perth as well. Well, I'm going to Perth tomorrow, and I'm so looking forward to it. I've been checking out the weather. It's going to be high 20s. So packing up a lot of summer gear and bikinis because the place I'm staying in has got a pool. So I'm very excited about that. And today is all about getting my bags ready as to what I need to take, all my little forms. I've got a little folder that I'm setting everything up in because I have got 5 events to execute on over this coming, oh gosh, so Wednesday I've got 2, Friday 1, Saturday 1, Sunday 1. So Adelaide's going to have near the end of this week, but it's going to be all about Perth this week, and I can't wait to see you too, Elaine. Great stuff, guys. So let's get officially started. I know I kind of just rambled on about my travels, but I am excited. Now that I've been at home for 2 or 3 weeks in the new house, I'm already ready to start jet setting and getting some awesome work done. So that will lead into the amazing period. So can I ask you about your opinion of going to business with a sibling? Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. I'll remember that question that came through Periscope. By the way, guys, feel free. You know me, I always love interaction, love comments, even if they're just little chit-chatty comments confirming an opinion, whatever it is, just post it up because it adds value, but it also takes our conversations to areas we didn't even plan about. So what I'll start off with as normal, some of you are brand new on these coffee chats and some are nice and regular always, is we start off with a 5-minute discussion on obviously a social media tip. Because we're here coming through the Ultimate Business Support Group and we have a lot of new members joining us, it's always great to educate them, but also I think it's great to be educating ourselves together on how to utilize the group the best way, but overall social media, overall how to get it all pull together and get the most bang for your time spent, not for your buck, because we know social media is free unless you're obviously doing social media advertising. All right, so what I was thinking about is about an aspect of social media whereby I had it in my mind and now it's just slipped. I'm just trying to think what I was going to. Oh, I hate when that happens. I had it all there and it's gone. Let me pick what aspect of it will I talk about? Okay, yes, I got it. It's come back. So I was going to talk about mixing social media for business and pleasure. Okay, because there's a big debate about that and whether or not you should have a separate account for your business side of you and then your personal side. So how do you decide? There's many different opinions around that. So I think you have to look at your business and what it's about. So for those of us that are coaches or entrepreneurs who are working with people and people are buying us, I think it's important that we have one profile for everything because we should be sharing an aspect of us that people want to buy. Okay, so in my business, very much so, my ideal client and avatar, if we like to call it, is looking for that lifestyle where they have more time with their children, more enjoying wonderful things in life, whether it's travel or whatever, just a woman who's in her mid-30s, early 40s, thereabouts. Basically, she's a version of me 5 or 6 years ago. So when I'm posting on social media with, things that I'm doing with my family or the travels we're going to or the fun stuff that we're doing, certainly that is also that is shared for my family here in Macedonia, but also it is in a way marketing the life that I live nowadays. And this is what my ideal client's looking for. So on a deep down emotional level, even if they don't say, oh, yes, I wish I had her life and all that sort of stuff, they still somehow connect and get inspired. So it's not about bragging. It's about actually, inspiring people that this is possible for you. So and that is why I choose to mix my personal and business. Also, why I choose to mix personal and business together is because I believe people need to know the full me, and I think that's authentic. And I believe that there's nothing to hide. Can you define bragging from Kath on Periscope? I don't know, blowing your own trumpet. How else would you, just saying people, look how good I am. I don't know. That's how I see bragging and doing it more, and doing it time and time again. So I think it's okay to share wins, but also to share the things that struggle with sometimes and how you overcome them. You don't do that. She's put the question. Look, I share lots of wins. I have lots of wins all the time. Every week I'm celebrating something or other, but I'm also sharing things that are of value to my community. I share my thoughts, my insights. I share things about my family, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, do I post up stuff when I have wins and when I do something good? Absolutely, I do, and I think so. You should. What sometimes people feel that is. I have never thought of you as a bragger ever. Tara said, no, well, that's not exactly. So I'm not, the perception I'm putting out there is not important to show we aren't perfect. Sorry that I'm reading some comments because they disappear off my screen after a little while. Yeah, I think if you share a good mix of everything, of course it's not going to come across as bragging and things like that. But what I'm just saying is there has to be a good mix, and a good mix from your own life, but also your business life, and being humble about it. So it depends how it's said, as well. So for those people though that have a business that's perhaps no way related to their life. See, my business is really related to my life and lifestyle and what I do and the reason I do it. Whereas if your business is not related at all to the lifestyle you live or your personal life, then there's an aspect of it where you can totally have it separate. Let's say I'm just gonna pick one off the top of my head. It could be maybe like a product business where, I mean, that's again could be related to your life because the product could be really helping your lifestyle. A printing business, you do print for other people. It's not really anything to do like improving someone's life. Yes, you can share lots of pictures and things like that from running a printing business. However, you can again, if it's a newer business, I think your personal profile is always going to help you with your business profile because people buy people. So if people like you, they'll go print with you. And that's the importance of it earlier on. As the business grows and becomes a brand that is run beyond you, then you don't need to have, that personal side to it, even though it always helps to have that, human touch for every single business. All right, so that's enough on social media. Let's start answering some questions that you guys have around anything business related. We obviously had something on Periscope here about any tips on running your business with a sibling or any opinions. Hey, Lucy just joined as well on Periscope. Okay, so siblings. I think this is relevant to any person, whether it's a partner. I think a sibling's very, very close to you, which means that if things go pear-shaped, you still have to work out a way to continue communicating with your family because you will always need to see them, whether it's family functions and things like that. So there has to be really, really clear ground rules right from the beginning. And that is covering everything off, not just how things will run or who's going to be in charge of what, but also how things would dissolve should things not work out. So, I recently had a client of mine who went into a partnership with someone, and now things have gone pear-shaped. And I said, well, what did you guys discuss in terms of if things didn't work out? How were you going to part ways? And she said, we actually didn't do that. So that's my number one thing, is that you must discuss both ways. Even though at the beginning you might be really excited and keen and motivated to get started, and all you can think about is this will never go wrong. Just like when you meet a person that you first fall in love with, and you think there's absolutely no faults they could have, you'd be happy forever, there'll be those honeymoon type of days all the time. Well, that's not really reality. And that's the same thing with starting a brand new business, even by yourself. In the beginning, it's all about, excitement and doing this and running there, and you're running on, that honeymoon type of energy with your business. But then soon you go into routine, which means it means the rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. You're doing all the same things over and over. And to keep it exciting, you have to put that extra effort to come up and be creative with ideas. So this is the same thing if we go back to siblings. You have to have the exit plan if things don't work out, and you have to from the beginning say that and promise to each other, and even sign a little sheet or a form that's going to say that you're not going to obviously let this interfere with your relationship in any way outside of it, that it's business only. That's as far as I would go. Just on a personal note, guys, to share with you about my history and my family. So it's unfortunate that my father had a brother, and they were the only two siblings from that side of the family. And not that they went into business, but unfortunately, from my father's side of the family, all the fights and all the things that have happened where people have eventuated not to speak to each other have been over money and whose part is whose in terms of houses or, like real estate. Even though there was very little to share from my father's parents, him and his brother, unfortunately, in the last, I'd say 20 years of their lives, did not say a word to each other, which is very, very sad. The brother did pass away about, I'd say now it's been 10 years ago. And unfortunately, that kind of attitude ended up being imprinted on my cousin, whom I grew up with, like a brother, because I never had a real sibling. So I had the three first boy cousins, and this particular one from my father's brother also had a fight with me over money about 10 years ago. I was trying to help him out, and because I didn't help him out as much as he expected, then he started talking, obviously not speaking to me and calling me selfish and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm just trying to illustrate here is that, yes, arguments over money can occur, and unfortunately, in one side of my family, that caused people to not speak to each other. And to this day, he doesn't speak to me. I'll send him a message and say I'm coming over and all this sort of stuff. And I'm not angry at all. Like, he can be angry. That doesn't affect me. But yeah, so he won't budge. I can't change him. I can only change myself. So you can see that those things, same with wills, someone saying, etc. Yeah, that was all about wills, Christine, on with my parents, my father's side, the brother. But with my cousin, it was just over a little money thing, and he reacted that way because obviously he observed his own father, and obviously that side of the family always gets so angry, so resentful, so I'm so glad. I guess I left that part of the family to live with my mum's side when I was about, I think, a couple of years old. I think that's when they really divorced, and the rest of my imprint period was around my mum's family. So I have completely different views and different opinions about anything in life. I don't resemble at all my father's side of the family. So that's sort of taken us on a bit of a tangent, but I think it's important because not only is family uh, a big part of our success in business, I believe. Because sometimes in the early days, what happens is people in our families may be a little bit skeptical about what we're doing. And a lot of the time, and I can see now this call is it's going to turn all about family and getting support from our families. But I believe our tribe is not sure what's going on, especially when we have that entrepreneurial seizure where we want to go and start this business. And what happens is that our need for belonging in our tribe really starts to be affected because if we're changing from what we've been doing so far, people are not comfortable with us growing because all of a sudden it puts the pressure of them needing to grow. And so, therefore, a lot of things start getting shaky. But what I want to tell some of you that are perhaps earlier on in your journey that aren't on the same page sometimes, someone's just, Christine said on Periscope, yeah, they aren't on the same page sometimes, and they just need to warm up to the idea and follow. So I learned this in my NLP training that your tribe may not be sure and maybe sitting on the sidelines or be skeptical, but if you keep going and trusting yourself and believing in what you do, your tribe will follow. And I saw that very clearly after about 18 months to the 2-year mark in my business. So it took that long. It wasn't months. It was 18 months to 2 years that it took for them to start really believing in what I did, because I had to always just believe in myself that this success was just around the corner, because there was no a real hardcore evidence that success was coming my way, and I just kept believing that it was just around that next corner. So I'm just going to read a couple of comments here that were posted on GoToWebinar. I'm trying to read the Periscope ones here as they pop up. So please pop up any questions or comments around this topic. Elizabeth said earlier, always be careful about working with family. That personal and business often doesn't mix. Yeah. Elizabeth, how do you tell someone who's part of your family they're not contributing or effective? Look, the way I would give feedback is always through sandwich feedback, where you say something positive about the relationship, how things are going. Then you say, this is what we need to work on, or I'd like to see this happen. And then you finish it off with another positive comment. So sandwich feedback always works well because it makes the person feel good about the extra couple of things that you said with the constructive feedback in the middle. However, that's it is difficult to raise. I think it's difficult to raise any concerns with anyone that you're partnering up with, let alone if it's family. And sometimes, because as the person who asked this question originally to ask about, starting going to business with a sibling, it can, depends on the people's personalities and how you guys are going to take also responsibility, because, and how much you've worked on yourselves. So another tip I would give, if you are planning to go into any business with anyone, but especially with a sibling, that you guys perhaps start attending some personal development seminars and work on yourselves as human beings, obviously, because once you have a lot of awareness about what things trigger you, why people act the way they do, so perhaps understanding human behavior a lot better would give you a better chance. Because what didn't happen, hang on, I'm just going to read this comment, and be aware of energy vampires, and especially narcissists who unconsciously try to drag you down. Yes. So working on yourself is super important, I think, for anyone, because what didn't happen in our family, of course, is they have no sense of awareness of it's like I'm right and he's wrong, And this is the type of person he is, and everything is obviously externalized and pointing and blaming, which is really living life at effect to everyone else, rather than taking that responsibility and saying, well, how am I playing a part in this, or why did I attract this in my life? Because I think we often attract the things that we deserve. So we attract things that are us. And so if you are attracting something that's within your environment, and thanks for the love hearts on Periscope. I love how pretty they look as they come up and fly up the screen. Yeah, look at the people that are around you and that you're hanging out with, or that you are attracting as clients, and they'll tell you a little bit. There'll be a reflection of perhaps where you are at in your journey, and if you are getting, if there are some people that frustrate you, well, how is that? How's that affecting? How is that reflecting perhaps what you need to be working on yourself? Okay, so Elizabeth is just saying, yep, the sandwich feedback is good, but from my experience, I find that I see people in therapy where it is the most difficult thing to work with family, that there is something very personal about blood that makes working together fraught with peril. Yeah, absolutely. And you would, Elizabeth. And also, as a couple in business, there is the overlap of when the business ends and the personal time begins. That was actually the topic that I was going to talk about today, which then went off on a tangent about family and partners in business. But I was going to really have a little bit of a discussion around how we separate our time away from business and time on the business, because a lot of us, and correct me if I'm wrong, but are working from home and are building small businesses from home. So when does business stop, and when does leisure time start, and all that sort of stuff? And maybe I can share a bit of an insight here. In the first couple of years, even I would say even up to 2.5 years, the lines were so blurry that there was I don't think there was very much enjoyment or pleasure time, and giving myself a permission to stop and take a break, or just go and do the family things. I think sometimes, and this is only speaking from my experience, there has to be a sacrifice put in order to reap the rewards. Now, the other night I was having friends over for dinner, and we're speaking about this, and I go, actually nowadays I have bursts of busyness. Like from tomorrow, I have a very busy 10-day period. I was telling you, do I ever feel like quitting? No, not nowadays. I never feel like quitting nowadays. Like that thought has not crossed my mind. I would say for at least 18 months or more. So it just keeps getting better. I just keep saying to myself, I can't believe I get to do this, and I sustain my life, and I get to travel when I want, and I get to take, but yes, back then, Christine, yes, absolutely. I did feel like quitting, and I did feel, not so much, I don't know if it was quitting, but it was saying to myself, this is too hard. What do I have to do? Am I good enough? It was those kind of questions that were coming up in my mind, and also it was so much easier to just go to my job 9 to 5 and come home, and you didn't even have to think about stuff. But then I thought about the nights that was repetitive nights of come home, eat dinner, sit in front of the TV, go to bed. Come home, eat dinner, sit in front of the TV, go to bed, and then obviously go on holidays I was still going on holidays at least every 6 months back when I was even employed. So that's just part of my values, and I've always made it happen. It's now just multiplied probably 5 or 6-fold in terms of what happens in our life. But yeah, I had to weigh up. What did I want more, and what was my burning desire? And I certainly was not stimulated by coming home, watching TV and going to bed. I always knew that I have a lot more to offer. Even when I was working for 10 years at OPSM in the optical industry, I felt like, once I mastered how I was running those stores and managing and growing them, exponentially financially the stores, I was just like, there's so much more I can do. I feel like my talent's being wasted in just this store. I need to, I can do more. Like I have more time and things like that. So going back to the time aspect is nowadays, I have heaps of time. Like this past three, certainly once we switch off at about Thursday night, it's only now that I'm coming back on. I might post a couple of times on social media, but that's part of my personal time anyway. I choose to do that. And we've been and spent lots of time with the kids. To tell you the truth, I'm really glad to be back into my office chair this morning because I just feel like I need my time now. This is my time running my business, and I enjoy it. And it's actually it's almost like my break away from being a mum of three little, children who obviously demand a lot of attention and energy and all that sort of stuff. And I'm looking forward to going to Perth tomorrow because I know in Perth not only will I be delivering these 5 events, but I will be planning 5 days of training that I will be doing in late October. So we've got the VIP marketing day at our house coming up on the 20th. I'm planning content, PowerPoints, all of that sort of stuff for that. Then I'm planning 2 master classes that are running 23rd, 24th, 28th, 29th of October. So that's 5 full days of training. I will be mapping out and working out what's going to happen in what part of the day. And that's my creative side. So not to be distracted and to be somewhere away in a completely different city for 5 days in the times that I'm not delivering workshops and things, I'll get so much work done. And then I'll come home and then I'll just be able to maintain the business and turn up to the things I need to turn up, but I won't have to have a lot of time away from the family. So now that there is a great balance, I choose to live life flexibly rather than on a rigid schedule, if you like. So it's not like I work 9 to 5 in this office and then I have family time 6 till 8 or whatever, dinner, blah blah blah. No, like for example, I'll finish this coffee chat, then I'll do a couple more hours of work, then I'll go and have a break or pack some clothes for Perth and hang out with the kids, and then I'll come back again and do things. So it's kind of on and off throughout a day. And sometimes it's a lot more off and sometimes it's a lot more on. But I tend to see things happen more in waves now. And there's a wave of busyness, like 10 events in 10 dates. That's a lot of events to coordinate and plan and execute. But I come back home and there's quite a cruisy 3 weeks. And then another busy period in that late October section. And then another cruisy period, then the last retreat, and then we switch off for 2 months. So it goes peaks and troughs, but there's definitely I can see a great flow between those 2 areas, whereas there was no flow in the early days. It was all geared towards the business, geared towards just marketing, going out, just meeting people, and all that sort of stuff. So I trust that's made sense. I know we're getting close. Oh my God, I can't believe that half an hour just flew. I hope some of this, how you managed all the boring but needed to work housework. Oh boy. Okay, just a quick comment on Periscope came up, and I'll stay behind for an extra 5 or so minutes, guys. I don't have to run off today. How did I manage the boring tasks? Someone asked on Periscope of feeding children and washing and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so in the early days, we certainly still did it. Can you believe I actually outsourced cleaning well before I was able to. Obviously, we didn't have the cash flow to outsource cleaning, but everyone said, I outsource whatever you don't like doing or whatever. And the first thing I really didn't like doing is cleaning. And I very quickly stopped. Like, I think it only lasted a couple of cleans that I thought, no, my money is not best invested here because I'm not ready to outsource this part of my life because there's no cash flow. So I just did it when I had to do it. Obviously, I have a supportive husband as well who does it. I think about 18 months in, I fully let go. I think Stuart then continued to do all the cleaning, and he's always been a cook in our family, so I don't cook at all. And nowadays we have got a cleaner, we have got a gardener. We don't do any of the tasks. We just tidy up after ourselves, and we're very tidy and organised. And so he's the same as me. So we match in our standards of tidiness and cleanliness. So we certainly do our own washing and things like that, like clothes and stuff. And he continues to feed us. So there's no more, those tasks don't really cross our mind anymore, but we just made do with, like, we made them happen when they had to happen. And we always work together. We've always been a team. So I know not everyone's got a teammate like I do, but we've always just picked up where the other person hasn't been able to do stuff. And, guys, two people are stronger than one. Okay, a couple of comments on Periscope. I agree a lot of people don't have the money to outsource it first. Yeah, I didn't. It was better to buy business cards than to outsource cleaning. Elizabeth. Elizabeth, could you have done this on your own with the children without a husband to help you? I probably could have, Elaine. Of course, it's been a lot easier. I know I speak to single mums who are building a business, and we try to work around their schedule. But I think if there's a will, there's a way, and I would have worked out a way to make it happen. I didn't have a lot of support. He was working full time in my first 2 years of business, and those were the hardest 2 years. It's when he was working full time, and I did feel like a single mom. Of course, there was the financial support from his job that maintained a mortgage. That I have to agree that was, but time wise, I wasn't getting support at all. Pretty much, I had to do stuff around his roster with clients and marketing, and I used to drop off my kids to different people. I don't even know how I did it. It was really, really random in the first 2 years. Yes, and it's the hardest time. So yeah, so there's just some of my insights of my own experience, and certainly the more we've income or sales that we've generated, we've then able to outsource those jobs to the professionals, and certainly I am not going to do a $30 job where I could be spending my time earning. Well, my hourly rate is $1,000 an hour, so where I could be generating income. Even if I did 1 hour a week with someone, all of my things that I need to have taken care of in my life are taken care of. So I focus on what I do best. I go and spend my time on where I think it will leverage the highest. And yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Lucy. Thank you. Personal chat from the heart, she says. All right, so let's wrap up. So as I said, coming over to Perth. Actually, all of these events, you guys, I have posted up on, I didn't delete this off, but I did post before on Facebook. For those of you that are on Periscope, if you go to the Ultimate Business Support group, I think one of the top posts is my post about events and links, and I think I'm showing it now on GoToWebinar. I put a couple of pictures of Perth and Adelaide onto it, and I posted every single event and every single link if you wanted to join me in any of those to come along to, and how to register. So it's going to be a fun trip. Follow my journeys through all the different events that we're doing. I'll be posting lots of little pictures from what's going to happen over the next 10 days. And the very last thing, and week after week I still say, and I know this week is going to be the week that the last spot of this will be snapped up, but the VIP Marketing Day is nearing, and there is still that one spot left. And the other day I was testing out the PowerPoint, the projector and all that, and we're hosting this at our home from 9 to 5 on the 20th of October. It's $497. It's all about marketing, setup plan for 2016, and working backwards from what your ideal income total will be for 2016. Let's say you want an income total of $200,000. Well, how are you going to work backwards, and what marketing will we plan to implement in those spots on your calendar to make sure and ensure that you hit that total by the end of the year? Yeah, someone just said I need to be at the next one. Yeah, we are going to probably do something extra and other things at our new home, because our training room fits 10 people, and that's why there's only one spot left, because there's 9 people locked in, and there's one more spot, and Stuart and I will provide all the food and the calendar and all of those kind of things that are happening. So what you need to do is just email me or Facebook me. So Natasha, natashadenman.com. Of course, Natasha spelled without a H. Or private message me on Facebook if you're interested. And once we're full, and I reckon I'll be announcing that next week that we're full. Awesome, guys. Well, have a great day. Oh, here's the little calendar that will give you, which I'm showing at the moment. Hang on, I might be able to show the people on Periscope too. There's the little calendar, and I'm going to show. Oh, that's all just kind of went all funny. And that's the little training room there that we've got. Cool. All right. So I hope that's been valuable. Lots of little insights and comments and things like that. So have an amazing week. We're back here. Actually, let me see what's happening. Am I back in Melbourne on Monday morning? Yes, the one day in between my 10 days that I've got off on the 28th before I go to Sydney on the 29th. So I will be in Melbourne, back in this chair for that coffee chat after my whirlwind week in Perth and Adelaide. So see you soon, and have an amazing week, and thank you, Elaine. Have a safe journey to Perth. Yes, I will, and I shall see you very, very soon. I think I'm seeing you Wednesday. You're welcome. See you, Lorraine. Bye.